B-movies are the scrappy underdogs of the film world. Born out of necessity to fill the bottom half of double feature bills, these budget flicks ended up doing a lot more than just keeping seats warm. They turned into a wild playground for budding filmmakers and a breeding ground for some of the coolest, weirdest, and most groundbreaking stuff in cinema. Let's dive deep into how these low-budget wonders shook up the movie biz and left a mark that's still felt until today.
What's in the basket?
Breaking new ground. B-movies were the playgrounds for the daring and the bold. In an era when Hollywood was all about glitz and glam, B-movies were making waves with stories that were anything but ordinary. They churned out stories about aliens, monsters, and all sorts of creepy crawlies, tapping into the collective jitters of the Cold War era. These flicks, with their zany plots and over-the-top characters, they weren't just cheap thrills. They were a mirror to the madness of the times, all while giving us a good scare or laugh. But it wasn't just about the monsters and the mayhem. B-movies were also breaking ground by experimenting with narrative structures and visual styles that mainstream cinema wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. The lack of oversight from studio bigwigs meant filmmakers could twist and turn their plots in unconventional ways, play with narrative perspectives, or experiment with funky camera techniques, making these films a hotbed for cinematic innovation. And let's not forget the sheer entertainment value. B-movies knew their audience and played to the gallery like no other. The drive-in scene of the 50s and 60s was where B-movies really found their groove. Teens loved the mix of make-out spots and monster mashups.
They're like huge seed pods.
This era gave us classics like The Blob, where a giant alien goo eats up a small town. Sounds crazy, right? But it's this kind of out-there storytelling that pushed the envelope and made room for new genres to bloom in mainstream cinema. Platform for emerging talent. Think of B-movies as the indie bands of filmmaking. This was where future stars cut their teeth and learned to make magic on a shoestring budget. Big names like Francis Ford Coppola and Jack Nicholson started in the B-zone, proving you don't need big bucks to make a big splash.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
These films were all about rolling with the punches, improvising, and making the most of what you got, which turned out to be the best film school anyone could ask for. This was a place where creativity thrived because there was nothing to lose. It was about getting your hands dirty, trying out wild ideas, and seeing what stuck. Many of the techniques and styles born out of this necessity-driven creativity later seeped into mainstream cinema, thanks to the B-movie alums, who graduated to bigger things.
What the hell are you? I'm a leprechaun, me dear.
Challenging societal norms. In the squeaky clean world of classic Hollywood, there were lines you just didn't cross. But B-movies, they didn't just cross those lines, they obliterated them. These films ventured into the dark alleys of society, exploring themes of sexuality, violence, and subversion in ways that mainstream films wouldn't dare. They were the voice of the counterculture, questioning authority, challenging norms, and giving a platform to ideas and identities that were otherwise marginalized. This rebellious streak wasn't just for show. B-movies became a mirror reflecting the underbelly of society, dealing with issues like racial discrimination, the Red Scare, and the nuclear threat with a rawness and honesty that was virtually unseen in mainstream cinema.
Different threatens them.
But perhaps the most revolutionary aspect of B-movies was their role in challenging the very notion of what cinema could be. They blurred the lines between high art and low culture, proving that films didn't need to be serious or sanctimonious to be meaningful. In doing so, They laid the groundwork for future movements in cinema that would continue to push the envelope and expand the boundaries of what film could achieve.
You cannot stop me! I am a ninja!
Technological innovation. B-movie makers were the MacGyvers of cinema, turning their budget constraints into a hotbed of innovation. They came up with all sorts of tricks to make their shoestring spectacle shine, from DIY special effects to guerrilla filmmaking tactics. These inventive solutions not only made for some unforgettable movie magic, but also showed that a fat wallet wasn't a prerequisite for visual storytelling. This spirit of innovation trickled up to the big leagues, changing the game for everyone. The DIY ethos and creative hacks of B-movies showed that with a bit of ingenuity, anyone could make movie magic, and inspiring a whole generation of filmmakers to just go for it.
That's it, guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for good work. That's a wrap.
The digital revolution owes a nod to B-movies too. These films were among the first to embrace the potential of digital effects, video distribution, and online marketing, paving the way for the democratization of filmmaking. They proved that you didn't need a Hollywood studio to make a film. With a camera, a computer, and a wild idea, anyone could be a filmmaker.
This is how I direct twinking motherfuckers like you!
Cultivating fandom and alternative distribution. B-movies didn't just build audiences, they built communities. These films became the cornerstone of a cult fandom that turned movie watching into a communal ritual.
Thank you all for coming to the 5th annual Los Angeles Troll 2 Party.
Midnight screenings, costume parties, and interactive viewings turned films like the Rocky Horror Picture Show into more than just movies. They were events, experiences that brought people together in a celebration of all things quirky and offbeat.
Way too many virgins in this audience tonight!
This sense of community extended beyond the theater. The rise of VHS and later digital platforms like social media gave B-movies a new lease on life, allowing them to reach audiences far and wide. These platforms became the new drive-ins, spaces where B-movie lovers could discover, share, and revel in the films that mainstream cinema had overlooked.
You can't piss on hospitality! I want to laugh!
But more than just building a fan base, B-movies fostered a sense of identity among their viewers. They became a badge of honor, a sign that you were in on the job, part of a club that didn't just consume films but celebrated them in all their flaws. This community spirit is a legacy that has influenced everything from fan conventions to online forums, where the love of cinema in its most unvarnished form continues to thrive.
How much fun they're having. They love it, man.
Influence on mainstream cinema and legacy. Today's big screen blockbusters owe a lot to the scrappy world of B-movies. Modern filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez wear their B-movie influences on their sleeves, blending high art with lowbrow thrills to create something entirely new.
I want just blank expressions, just blank. You guys are gawkers.
This crossover has enriched cinema, blurring the lines between high and low art, and proving that great storytelling transcends budget labels. B-movies showed us that creativity knows no bounds, and that sometimes the most outlandish ideas can lead to the most memorable moments in cinema. Their legacy is a testament to the power of imagination, proving that all you really need to make a great film is a wild idea and the guts to see it through. In the end, B-movies remind us that cinema is at its best when it's fearless, when it dares to be different, to take risks, and to challenge the status quo. They've shown us that in the world of film, it's not the size of your budget that matters, but the size of your imagination. And that's a lesson that will resonate through the halls of cinema for generations to come. In conclusion, B-movies shook up cinema by tearing up the rulebook and showing the world that when it comes to filmmaking, heart and creativity beat big budgets any day. They've left a mark on the industry that's all about embracing the weird, the wacky, and the wonderfully inventive, making cinema a richer and more vibrant place for everyone.
I'll probably I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
Swallow this.